In this Smokin' Brothers cooking segment here on the break, we're gonna do jalapeno deer poppers. So what you're gonna need for this recipe, you're gonna need fresh jalapenos from the produce department at your local grocery store. We're gonna cut these down to size for our jalapeno poppers. You're also gonna need thin cut bacon. Don't get the thick cut, it takes too long to cook. So this is Oscar Mayer. I've used this a lot, it works really the best. So I don't think there is a thin cut, but it's just the standard cut. Again, don't get the thick cut. You're going to need blocks of cream cheese. So this is just Philadelphia cream cheese in the block. Again, get the block because it's easier to cut up down to size to make these poppers. You're also gonna need seasoning. So whether you're using Smokin' Brothers plus the kitchen sink for a little bit of heat, or but the kitchen sink for a little bit of that sweetness without the heat, that, or I'm using today the Grab-It Ranch Big 5 single batch rub. So it's great tasting, but one of the great benefits when you purchase the Grab-It Ranch rub or their barbecue sauce for that matter, 100% of the proceeds goes back to the Niestet Foundation to help veterans or active duty military members that may be struggling with PTSD or whatever it is, and all that money goes out to take them out on outings, whether it's hunting or outdoor adventures, to help them readjust to civilian life. So a great cause, a great rub, that's what I'm using today. And then you're obviously gonna need deer meat. So some people call it venison, I call it deer meat. So we're gonna need a lot of that. Now, but a lot of different cuts on a deer, obviously, that you got the back straps, you got the inner loin, you got the rear quarters, the front shoulders. So I use the deer round steaks for the poppers. So the round steaks are from the rear quarters. Now whether you're processing your deer yourself, save that meat in the ham, the rear quarter, to do this. If you take it to the processor and they process it for you, just have them cut the deer rounds about 1/2 inch to 5/8 of an inch thick. So, and that's what I've got here. The back straps you could use for this recipe, but I like to use those for, just steaks. So I like to use this meat here, this round steak is perfect for this recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. The first thing we're gonna do is cut up our jalapenos. I'm gonna wash them here and we'll start prepping everything here. The longest part about this whole recipe is the prep. Takes no time to cook them, but yeah, the prep is the hardest thing. So we're gonna start with the jalapenos and get them washed and start cutting them up. All right, so I pre-washed my jalapenos, they're ready to be cut up. So we're going to cut the stem off. We'll cut the tip off as well. And then long ways, I'm gonna make one cut down the center to cut these in half. All right, and then we're gonna clean all that stuff out of there. There you go. However you wanna do it. I usually just kind of take that knife and something like that. Make sure you get all the seeds out. The seeds pack some heat. All right, do the same thing to this one. There we go. Looks good. All right. Now I'm gonna cut these halves into smaller pieces as well. You could, if you want big jalapenos, they're not really bites, but if you want big jalapeno poppers, you can leave them this big and it takes you 2 or 3 bites to get through it. But again, I like smaller bites. I like my poppers, just pop them in your mouth and go. So I'm gonna cut them into the jalapenos, and the size is about like that. So that's probably 3/4 of an inch by 1/2 an inch, something like that. Something like this. So just make quite a few small pieces here. All right, and just throw them in there and get ready to cook. So however you want to do it, just cut them up into smaller pieces. They don't have to be exact, but again, I like them smaller pieces. Again, I've seen people make these and they leave them big and you're taking 2 or 3 bites to get through it, which is fine, but when you get that cream cheese in there, it tends to, when you have to take a bite, it tends to spill out on your chin and it's hot. And, yeah, it can be ugly. So yeah, just clean those out really well. There we go, pretty simple. Trash in there, good deal. I'm just gonna cut them again into smaller pieces. So what I get on these size jalapenos, I'm getting 5 pieces of jalapeno per half. So that would be 10 jalapeno popper bites out of each one of these peppers. Here we go, 5. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and knock the rest of these out. The worst part about this recipe is the prep. It just takes a while. It takes 3 times as long as it does to cook, to be honest. So I won't bore you with cutting these out. I'll go ahead and knock it out real quick. All right, so jalapenos are cut. We're gonna start cutting up the deer meat. You're gonna want them about the size, slightly bigger than your chunks of jalapeno. So again, I'm using round steak that's cut about 1/2 inch to 5/8 thick. So I'm just gonna cut out the good meat, get rid of a lot of the tendons in here and any of the gristle. This is a good little cut right here. With a little bit of gristle. There we go. So that's a good cut right there. So if I grab one of these jalapeno bites here, you can see what we're dealing with there. So just a little bit bigger, that's what we're looking for. Maybe 1 inch by 1 inch would be a good size on here. So I'm just gonna start cutting this up and then just put all the trash from the gristle in this pan right there. All right, time to cut up the bacon. I make these jalapeno poppers small enough where 1 piece of bacon in here is enough to make 3 poppers. So I'm gonna pull this whole package out and we'll just cut it into thirds. So it's much easier just to cut the whole slab here as opposed to each piece. All right. And I'll do the same to that package there. Got another package in the fridge in case I need it, but 2 of these will probably be enough. All right, so I've got everything laid out here. My deer meat is cut up, cubed up into smaller pieces. I've got my bacon cut up. Got my jalapenos here, cream cheese. It's all ready to go. I'm going to grab a butter knife. So we're gonna take a jalapeno, just a little cut of cream cheese, slide that on there. Piece of deer meat, mash it down. And then the bacon. That will wrap around there. Perfect size on that 3rd cut bacon. And then shove toothpick through it. That's that. Put it in there and we'll season it up here in just a second. So again, I'm gonna grab a piece of jalapeno, get a little shot of cream cheese to put on it. Just rub that on there. Grab a piece of meat, put it over the top. Piece of bacon. Start in the middle of the meat on top. I'll wrap it around tight. And that is our jalapeno popper bite. Just put it in there. When we get all these prepped, we'll start seasoning. So I'm gonna get all these put together. I'll talk to you here in about 15 minutes. Got about half of them done, so I'm gonna season the bottom layer of these with the Grab It Big 5 rub here. So just give a nice little coating on these. Smells awesome. Tastes awesome. Don't want to overdo it with these poppers because you got a lot of flavor in the deer meat, the bacon, the jalapeno, the cream cheese. You really want to taste it all. Yeah, just a nice light coating on there. So I'm gonna just kind of move them around, flip them over, get the ones that on the back side here. You don't have to do it perfectly, but just move them around a little bit, give them another light coat. Flip that one over and that one. Looks better. Just another light coat in there. Oh yeah, looks good. All right. I'm going to continue putting these together. Again, about halfway through. Then they'll be ready to go on the smoker. Probably wait till I'm about 10 minutes out from being finished, and then I'll go heat that smoker up and we'll get going. All right. Our smoker is up to 225, so we're gonna start these out with some smoke. I always like to put a little bit of smoke on my meat before I cook it. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna smoke these at 225, not for very long. Let's get all these spread out in here. And you kinda gotta watch these. So we're gonna smoke them only for about 20 minutes. And then we'll just come and check them. There'll be some of them that are actually done, because if you remember, a lot of these are different sizes. So they could very well be finished just with the smoke. But then the rest of them, we're gonna crank it up to about 350 and let that finish off the other ones here. And again, we'll just have to check them. It may take 15 minutes or 10 minutes for some of them. It may take 15, it may take 20 for that matter for the others. So again, these are the sizes here are so variable that you know, this is one recipe that you can't hardly just set it and forget it. You always want to kind of check them after this initial smoke. These things are fantastic. Everybody that eats these just absolutely love them. It's probably my favorite finger food. All right, put the last few on that top shelf. We got them smoking here. We'll let them smoke for 20 minutes, and then we'll come back, check on some of them. We're gonna crank the heat up to about 350 and finish them off. And again, we'll just have to check it every 5-10 minutes as we're cooking on 350 because of the various sizes of these poppers. So we'll check back in 20 minutes. Oh yeah, those are looking really good. Got a good smoke on them for about 20 minutes. Some of them could be done already, but we're gonna let them go a little bit longer. So I'm gonna crank the heat up to 350, and then we'll let that go for another 10 minutes on some of these. We'll come and check them. I would imagine the smaller ones will be finished. We'll pull those off, and then the other ones will finish in the next 20 minutes or so. So again, you just gotta watch these jalapeno poppers because of the various sizes. Some are bigger than others, some will take a little bit longer, but we got a good start on the smoke at 225 for 20 minutes, and then we'll finish them off at this high heat. They are looking awesome. All right, I'm just kind of pulling all the small ones off that I know are finished. Let the other ones go for just a little bit longer. But they should be done in the next 10 minutes or so. Again, you got various sizes of jalapeno poppers. You're gonna have various cooking times, but 225 on smoke for about 20 minutes, and then we cranked her up to 350 and give it another 10 to 15 minutes. You just gotta watch them. The smaller ones are finished, waiting on the larger ones. But again, these are the jalapeno deer poppers. Deer meat, some people call it venison, I call it deer meat. We've got cream cheese, jalapeno on the inside, wrapped in bacon, seasoned with Gravik Ranch Big 5 sauce. So this is it, give it a try. It's my favorite finger food appetizer. You're definitely gonna wanna try these. They're awesome. Unbelievable.